So we now have Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 Episode 9. This episode is called Things Left to Do. This was originally supposed to be our mid-season premiere, and if it was, this would have been a fantastic premiere. So wow, honestly, the best way of putting this episode is just wow. What they were able to do in this episode, I went into the realization with this back half of the series. I thought what they done in this one episode was going to be the entirety of the remaining 8 episodes. I thought they were going to stretch it out. I thought the way they were going to wrap the storyline up was that every episode would be small and slowly notching places just to get them there to where they need to be for a whole thing to wrap up. I did not expect the storyline to go the way it went in this episode whatsoever. It starts off, we see June actually digging John's grave, which is quite a sad scene. You see her digging so much, she's getting blisters all over her hands. She keeps his hat, she picks up his gun. She's going to keep his gun, but of course one of the Rangers puts a gun up against her, tells her to drop it. The whole scene, the whole opening to this, you just see the heartbreak. You see all the emotion in June's face, where she looks like, what does she do next? What does she do without John? Does she even want to save people anymore? You can see that she has just become lost now, because of course she could have went with John. She knew John wasn't happy there, but she wanted to stay there to make a hospital to save people, so she didn't go with John. Is she gonna live with that guilt now for the rest of her life, that if she went with John, John will probably still be alive? There's so much that you can look at it from so many different perspectives, and you can understand why June is in the place she is now at the end of this episode. As well, that everything went on, you see that Virginia is so absolutely annoyed. She goes back, she has her whole Negan scene, she puts everyone on their knees, she gets ready to kill them, and she's on the walkie-talkie with Morgan saying, if you don't show up, if you don't, not even if you don't show up, if you don't answer me right now, I will kill Grace. And it was quite a really intense scene. Now, it wasn't intense scene the same way Negan's introduction was intense, but it was a tense scene because I really didn't know if they were going to kill someone. I thought, okay, maybe they can kill someone. Of course, John did just die, but usually Walking Dead, they do a thing where premieres and the finale's deaths do occur there. So since this was the original premiere, maybe they did have a death orchestrated here. I knew it wasn't going to be Grace, because of course it's Grace. You do have to see her and Morgan reunite. She is pregnant. Not gonna shoot a pregnant woman in the head, but they really let you to believe that it could be Daniel. I was thinking again, it might not be Daniel. He is a season 1 character, and there's only 3 of them remaining. But I thought there is a high chance it could be Daniel, because Daniel gets his head fucking smashed in, not like Negan smashed in, but he just get a good hard gut cut go right down the top of his head from someone hitting him with a machine gun. But as all this is playing out, Morgan rocks up on the horse, full get up, looking like the bounty hunter again. Virginia calls him out on that, because of course she hasn't seen him since the Gulch, and of course she starts losing her shit, because Morgan starts explaining to everyone there that the person who killed the ranger, who I can't remember his name, was actually Dakota. And now that everyone knows that Dakota did it, and that the person that Virginia framed for it, the fact that Virginia only framed her just to save Dakota's ass, everyone's like, what the hell, this person, we can't trust her. And of course we know that Strand was told to make an army for Virginia, but he took it in a literal sense, that he made the army for Virginia, to fight against Virginia, rather than an army to fight for Virginia. So all these soldiers turn up on Virginia. I felt like this whole scene with them all turning on her, it felt really good, because I didn't know what Strand was going to do. Because in fairness to Strand's character, through the entirety of the series that he's been in since season 1, you actually never know exactly what Strand's going to do. He's a character that you want to trust, that you do like, but you never know if you can fully trust his character. And this entire scene really led me to believe, even to the last second, can I trust Strand? Is Strand going to do the right thing here? And of course he does do the right thing here. But it does start a big old fight scene with guns. We see that Virginia gets shot in the shoulder quite badly, but they do end up taking away Grace and Daniel in a car into God knows where. Morgan then puts the axe up to Virginia's head, about to kill her, and then she goes, if you kill me, you're never going to find him again. So Morgan puts Virginia in the car, and they drive off after them, leaving a really weird scenario where I was thinking, okay, are we going to have like a couple of episodes with just Morgan and Virginia together. Of course, Morgan does take her to the water tower that he'd been living in for quite some time to try and patch up the wound as best as he could. Of course, he stops the bleeding, can't get the bullet out though. And as they're kind of in there just kind of talking about it, we get the really big, massive reveal that Dakota is actually her daughter. Now, I said earlier in the episode, like, oh my god, or in the season, I said, oh my god, they actually look like sisters. They're so alike in appearance, and it was kind of mad just because they got actresses that look so alike. But now we got the revolution that it's actually her daughter. It's quite mad to see that kind of realization now that she's actually her daughter. I actually looked it up. There's only 10 years between the two of them, but I don't know how old Dakota's meant to be. She's 19 in real life. Maybe she's 16, or she could be anywhere between 14 to 16, I guess. She looks young enough, so it kind of is, you can believe it. I don't know if Dakota or Virginia is meant to be older than 29, but anyways, you do get that scene, and it was quite a big realization that I just didn't really think, I never really thought of it that way, so I was quite surprised when that does get realized. But then in that scenario, or in the scene, the masked group, I can't remember if they have a name for themselves. Actually, do they call themselves the Outcasts? But anyway, I'm gonna call them masked group. They rock up in Al's car. They start shooting bullets. Of course, Morgan and Virginia get out of there anyways. They get chased her a little bit. They do get out of there. Morgan takes her to the dam, takes it to the community. Of course, Al, Dwight, and Alicia are like, why the hell did you bring her here? Why is she here? Virginia's like, oh my god, I didn't know Dwight and Al were alive. I saw your bodies. And oh, I really liked it. I think all that back and forth there was good. They do take Virginia inside of the dam. Everyone's like, what are you doing? Even the woman whose husband actually saved Morgan in episode 1. He's like, Isaac wouldn't want her here. Why is she here? Why is she here? But the reason she's there is so she can tell Dakota that I'm your mother. And in doing so, that is going to get Grace and Daniel back. But in the process of that, everyone found where they were. Strand and his army have now found them. They're at the gate of the dam. You got the masked group. They're at the gate of the dam, and they're all demanding Virginia to come out and kill her. As it's all playing out though, Virginia has kind of changed the deal they had. The deal was originally, if you set me and Dakota off, just let us go off, we'll never come back, just leave us be. If you let us do that, I'll get you Grace and Daniel. She changed it now. She says they're gonna want me. They want me, and they want a twist knife. They want me to die, but they want me to feel it. So the new deal is, I'll give you Grace and Daniel. You just let Dakota live here. Just give her a life that I want her to have. Just make her feel included. Make her just forget about everything with John. Just let her have a life here, and I will go out. But also, you have to be the one to kill me, and I want you to kill me quite quickly. So they make the deal. They go out there, and Morgan's about to chop off her head, and the whole scene from this point onwards reminded me so much of season 8, episode 16 of The Walking Dead, where Morgan gives a big speech about how we cannot start a civilization on this. We can't start a civilization on the blood of someone else. He gives a big speech. Really reminded me of Rick. He drops his staff, he sticks it in the ground and says that's going to stay there until we need it again. Really enjoyed it. I really liked it. Especially because Morgan got all this idea from Rick Grimes, which is just great to see. Morgan following Rick's footsteps now, even though Rick kind of followed Morgan's footsteps originally because he's the one who says we don't have to kill all the time. So Rick copied himself, then Morgan copied Rick, who also copied himself. So it's kind of a full circle kind of thing. But I really enjoyed seeing Morgan come to the realization that we don't need to kill her. We can just lock her up in prison, and they're going to treat her like the same way Negan is being treated on The Walking Dead. So I thought all of that scene played out really interestingly. But he says if she is going to die, she has to tell Dakota. Cannot get away with this because she doesn't want to tell Dakota that's her mother, because that's an awkward conversation to have. Of course, she doesn't want to have that conversation. So then she has to tell Dakota, and it leads to quite a weird scene in that straight away Dakota, before she even says anything, she's like, get lost, I don't want anything to do with you. And then after she tells her, Dakota sits beside her and they talk about her for a while, and then Dakota loses her shit again. You understand Dakota is listening, you understand it's a big thing to hear, but I just thought the way she kind of reacted to the first time hearing it, I just thought it was a bit weird. She was a bit kind of calmer than I was expecting anyone to hear, that the person you thought was your sister is actually your mother, and the people she killed who you thought were your parents were actually your grandparents. I thought she just acted a lot calmer than I thought, but the actress as a whole I think is just phenomenal. Actually, she's actually ridiculously good. The only thing I've ever actually seen her in Before this was scary stories to tell in the dark, and she wasn't really a standout in that. But in this so far, like, she's way better than Charlie. If you want to put it in like the age graphic, she is way better than Charlie is in the series. But of course, now we see Virginia is locked up away in the cell. Everyone's kind of going back. You see a lot of our group coming into the compound. This kind of, now the rest half is of this episode is very similar to the kind of wrapping up the storyline of the end of episode or season 8, where you see Rick and Michonne talking to Negan in the cell. You see Morgan giving all his stuff away before he leaves, just kind of wrapping up the storyline, saying, look, there's a happy future after this. We get to see this at the end of this episode. Of course, Dwight goes up to Sherry. Sherry wants to stay with the masked group. She doesn't want to just live in this kind of compound that they're going to be living in. She wants to go out there and do what she's done with Virginia, fighting these people who are bad, taking them down. She wants to go out and do that, so she's now gone with the masked group. I don't know if that's the end of that group. I don't know if we're ever going to see them again. I don't know. I know we're going to probably be following now the end is the beginning group now for the remaining half of season 6. But I don't know, are we going to see Sherry again? I really don't know, because I think like Dwight's story with Sherry, I feel like it's just done. I feel like Dwight has to move forward now, so I don't really see Sherry coming back now. I could be wrong. Maybe she does fight the end as the beginning people. Maybe she finds a new group to fight straight away. But I don't know what's going to happen with Dwight and Sherry. Of course, Strands doesn't want to come in because he says Virginia was creating an army for a reason. So we're going to go out and find out what that reason is. Alicia's there. You got Grace and Morgan have a nice reuniting. Daniel's now part of that group. You even got June's part of the group. So they go in. They're all talking to Virginia, saying, we're going to let you guys go. We're going to let you guys go. You're going to go a back way. Just leave. Never come back. Just go off and just live wherever the hell you want to live out there. June's kind of having a really good scene with her. Just the two of them in a room. She's talking. She's healing her wound. And of course, they're talking and she's saying, June kind of says, my entire camp was killed because I tried to save my daughter. And then my love of my life was killed by someone who was trying to save their daughter. And she says, it's just full circle thing. And then she pulls out the gun that Dakota killed John with, and she aims it at Dakota or at Virginia. And I was thinking, she's probably not going to kill her. She's probably just going to put the fear of God into her. And then June shoots her in the head and kills Virginia. And you see Virginia's body just drop dead, blood dripping from her skull. The whole place. I was shocked to actually see the death of Virginia, not only in this episode. I was never expecting to see her in episode 9 get her death, but I wasn't expecting Virginia to die by the end of the episode. Even as the episode played out, even the whole scene, I wasn't actually expecting I was expecting her to be like Negan, just living in a prison cell. But no, Virginia's dead. And we see Morgan, Alicia, and I can't remember who else runs up. They see the body inside, and then June puts John's hat on. She's holding his gun, and she just walks out. She leaves, and that's what the end of what we see with June at the moment. I imagine that's not it. We're going to see June again, but she felt like such an outlaw leaving that town. I'm really excited what's going to happen with June. What's going to happen at the end is the beginning, people. As the episode was playing out and everyone went off their own separate ways, I thought, is there going to be like a civil war kind of storyline? Because there's 3 different groups. Are all our groups going to fight against each other now? I don't imagine that's what it's going to be. But I honestly have no idea where they're going to go. I know they're probably going to be fighting the end of the beginning people, but are our groups going to come together to fight them? Are they all going to be like 4 different people fighting because they're all fighting for different reasons? I don't know how it's going to play out. I am really excited to see the end of the season, because I think I heard some of the actors were saying that what they've done now is the best thing they've ever done, and I'm really, really excited to see how season 6 wraps up. As of right now, if season 6 finishes the way the quality has been for the first half of season 6, this is going to be the best season of Fear the Walking Dead, and it's probably going to be up there with one of the best seasons of The Walking Dead as a whole. So I'm beyond excited to see how this season wraps up. And if you want to hear my reviews on each of these episodes, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can come back and watch my reviews of the remaining episodes of season 6. And as always, thanks for watching.